Hello beautiful people, today I'll be ranking my Viseart eyeshadow palettes. I have a total of 10 eyeshadow palettes, and the way I'll be ranking them is based on how often I reach for the particular palette, as well as how well I feel that the colors in the palette suits my skin tones. How I'll rank the palettes is from my least favorite to my favorite. So out of the 10 that I have, the one in the 10th position is the Sultry Muse. The reason I rank it in number 10 is because I feel that the colours does not really complement my skin tone so well. So the kind of shimmers that Viseart have is also a softer shimmer. It's not chunky and it's more flattering to textured eyelids as well as matured eyelids as well. Just to try some shades on. Ranking number 9 is the Paris Edit palette. This is another popular palette, and I actually thought I would like it more. The reason it's ranked at number 9 is because these colours take a little bit of building up to show on my skin tone. Their shimmers are actually very nice, but for this mattes up here, they maybe blend too well with my skin tone, so they do not show as well when I use this. It takes a little bit of building up for the mattes. But it can be built up, and the shimmers are very nice. So ranked in number 8 position is the Libertine eyeshadow palette. This surprised me because the colours was actually more flattering on my skin tone, like for this brown, this beige, and then even this darker brown here. And we can just add on some pops of color for lining the eye to add on some brightness to the eyes. I wasn't expecting to like this more than the other two that I mentioned, but I actually do. The blue actually feels quite dry. I guess it depends on the pigment. And ranked in number 7 is the Tryst palette. The reason I like this more than the Libertine, the colours are very soft and I tend to like softer colours. Especially this shimmer, it does give a nice glow to the lids as well. Ranked in number 4 is my warm mattes. So because the colouring is a little bit warm for my skin tone, but it's still a nice palette. So I usually reach for these two colours, the lighter colours up here in fact, if I want to blend the eyeshadow. And these colours, by adding these colours here, it will make the palette even warmer, but for the rest it's actually not too bad. Maybe this orange makes it warmer as well. So these are the colours I usually reach for if I want to use a light wash of colours to blend on my eyelids. It's actually quite light. So although they don't really swatch very well, they apply quite nicely on the eyelids. And they blend out very easily as well. And they last the whole day. And rank at number 5 is my Paris Nudes. This one has been compared with the Sultry Muse. And I actually prefer the Paris Nudes after I got both of the palettes at the same time. The reason I like this better is because I prefer the colours of the Paris Nudes compared to the Sultry Muse because I find it more flattering to my skin tone and it does give a soft flattering look. For this palette, the colours that I like is actually soft purple here. But let me just swatch a few others as well. And you see the colours are very soft. Ranking number 4 is my Natural Matte Milieu. So for this colour, it's actually a deeper tone of nudes. And I do like it as well, especially the top row. And then I can use the second row here, just a few colours to deepen it out. And the blue for adding a pop of deeper colour to my eyelid itself, maybe the outer corner, or using it as an eyeliner as well. Same goes for this or this one. So the colours for this eyeshadow palette are very rich. And rank at number 3 is my Koi palette. I feel that it's quite an underrated palette because maybe it looks very colourful in the pan, but the colours are actually quite see-through and a bit like watercolour effect. So they layer on actually very well with a darker base. And they have like something like a duochrome for some of them as well. For example, I'll put a black here. And if I were to layer the blue or this color on top of it, you will see a different effect. See how it changes the color? And for this color, so you get even more shades just by adding this the Koi palette shades on top of a darker shade. If I were to use this shade and this shade by itself, the effect we'll get is like this. By adding the colors on top of a darker base, we get another different color altogether. So it does expand the range of the shadows that we actually have. It's definitely an interesting palette to have in your collection, especially if you like colors, and whether you like it to be a lighter wash of color or something stronger, depending on how you use it. So rank at number 2 is my largest palette, and I do like this palette, but the reason I rank it at number 2 is because of the size actually. This is Grande Pro 1X. They have replaced the Grande Pro 1 with this one, and it has slightly more shades and the pan size is also smaller. But for me, I don't mind a smaller pan size because it's really quite difficult to use them in eyeshadow, unless perhaps if I use it professionally as a makeup artist. This is an all matte palette, so you have the cool mattes here, the darks, and then the base shades, a light cream, and the darker shade and the browns, they are quite versatile. We can use it for eyebrows, shading, and even the eyeshadows can be used as a blush if you like to. This is a good palette to get if you don't have any of the smaller ones. Okay, so for this, let me just swatch a few of the interesting shades. So, and rank in number 1 is a crowd favorite, which is the Neutral Mattes number 1. This may look like a very plain palette, but the reason it's ranked number 1 among all of this is because this eyeshadow palette goes with any other eyeshadow palette in my collection. What I mean by that is that, especially the top row here, it helps me to blend out the edges of the eyeshadow very seamlessly. In fact, what I'm using on my eyes today is actually this one here, the Neutral Mattes. I'm using this color as my base shade, followed by this one over here, and this one here on the outside, as well as the Koi palette. So for the Koi palette, I'm actually using this shade here on my lid itself, and this one in the center, and at the side of my eyes, the inner corner, I'm using this. So this gives some shine to my look as well. So the reason this is number 1 is because this is so versatile, and I reach for this even more than the bigger palette because I find this much easier to reach for. It's easier to work with. I like the size of the palette. I like the way it just opens with a flap. For this one, it's a little bit of an extra step that we have to do this, so especially if you're in a rush, this would be handy. And this consists of all the colors that I actually need, whether I want an eyeliner shade, whether it's black or brown, even for eyebrows in a pinch if I need it. And these colors here are very good as well for deepening up my socket and bringing down the puffiness of my eyelids as well. So that's why this is number 1 for me. Swatch some colors. So what are my thoughts on this brand of eyeshadows? What I like about this eyeshadow, although the matte feels dry to the touch, and they do not swatch so well. When you apply it on the eyelids, they actually blend out very well. With a few strokes of the brush, the color is blended in without any harsh lines, and they last the whole day. They still look good at the end of the day, and it's quite easy to work with because the mattes do build up slowly. If you're looking for really bright and outstanding shimmer, this is not it. But if you like something softer, which is flattering to textured eyelids or matured eyelids, this is a good choice to look into because the shimmers do not emphasize any texture. They give a soft look and a soft glow to the eyelids. If you want a stronger effect of the shimmers, then it's best to use a mixing medium to bring up the intensity of the shimmers. And another thing I like about this eyeshadow is that the clear packaging itself. It may not look fancy, but it makes it very easy to see the colors that you have at a glance to decide which one you want to use. So now for the negative points, again, actually it's to do with the packaging, especially for these plastic ones. Although it's I like it because it's easy to see the colors, the negative point is that the back of it, the plastic, gets scratched very easily. And this packaging for the Grande Pro, it's cute, but for this color especially, it gets fingerprints on very fast. So it's also not easy to keep it that clean looking. This is just my personal thoughts. I hope my review is useful in helping you decide if you're planning on getting any of the palettes. And I look forward to having you join me again on my next video. Stay beautiful. Bye!